Hello guys and welcome back. This is of course me, Mr. Siege, with another episode of SIEGEWATCH. Now obviously I've done this is my fourth episode now. I could not carry on this series without taking a look of the biggest KVK of 2025 so far. Even it could be the biggest KVK that we have all year round. And of course it's this KVK in the background that I'm talking about, the 60 GT, GV77, JST 1093, 1606, some massive kingdoms there, and of course the biggest kingdoms in our servers. So I've had to drop in and I want to look at all these great siege towers, and there's some amazing fighting that I have seen today. Absolutely huge amounts of fighting going on. They look like ants on the battlefield compared to like what I usually see and what I'm used to. So crazy fighting, and let's jump in and take a look at all these towers and try and contact everyone that I see today, as many people as possible. There's so many towers in this KVK, however. Hopefully, loads of people get back to me. Not as many as I expected, however, but let's go and dive in and take a look at what's going on right now. So, plenty of towers positioned around, but I'm not going to actually talk to the people that are obviously not fighting right now. I've made so 60 GT are on the ally side, so obviously you can do this when you go and view fighting and stuff like that. But I did have a bit of problems with this during viewing this KVK. At some points I couldn't even change who I wanted to be allies and who not. And I think other people have that problem too. And it makes it so much clearer being able to pick one side against the other so you can see who's fighting who. But I have managed to do it at this part of the video, and I deleted the bits, to be honest, that weren't. But as you can see, huge amounts of towers set up across the other side of the river. So on the north of the river, we've got 1093, 1473, and I believe it's like 2414, and obviously 60 GT north of the river. Now, as you're watching this, things have progressed, and pretty much everyone at the north of the river you can see now has actually pushed to the south of the river. And this was a big battle between 60 GT and GV77 that I landed on. And obviously I could pick out loads and loads of towers that are fighting in this ball. An absolute perfect scenario. Again, look at them all firing away. And I will contact as many as possible. Obviously I'm speaking to these people, chatting to them now, sending out a message, which I will show you what I'm sending them in a little bit. And there's just a huge amount of towers that you can see from GV77 here. They're all fighting away. So if I contact as many of these as possible, hopefully I can get a decent amount of replies. And I'm sure these guys have great gear. I mean, at least you'd think so. You know, they're putting out an important march on the field, and you'd think they'd have very strong gear to be able to annihilate enemies, obviously. Now, I suppose it's not just that, though. I mean, you've got your Margaret, you've got your Garjamada, and they are going to be providing debuffs on the enemy, you know, against the enemies, and they're going to be in contact most of the battle here. Literally, they're going to be firing and firing away consistently and constantly. And obviously, doing that is just going to provide constant flow of debuffs on those enemy marches. So, really, you are going to benefit a huge amount. Just contacting more people here, ELEP there, and just picking up people, error. There's just so many siege marches to pull out, and I didn't click on everybody, so you know, apologies if I didn't contact you. But this is the message I'm pushing out. So hi, I'm recording another episode of SIEGEWATCH featured on my YouTube channel. If you would like to be on the new episode, could you send me your last 5 siege reports and share with me your equipment? And obviously, a lot of people did not reply, actually. Most people didn't reply, compared to those that did reply. And I was thinking, you know, why is that? Why are people not actually replying to me? I mean, I guess a lot of people don't know who I am. But, you know, here's a chance to be shown on YouTube, whether you're bothered about that or not, I don't know. But what I'm guessing is probably the main reason is that a lot of these guys are probably piloting right now. Now, this Kingsland fight has been going on for ages, and it's just not humanly possible to stay up for 48 hours, 72 hours, or whatever, days and days and days, fighting non-stop. You know, you're only human. Get some sleep, and you get people to pilot your counts. And I know for a fact people were obviously piloting in this KVK, and at the time of messaging people, even one of the people I messaged, I know the person from my kingdom, and they were piloting. So, you know, that was really funny actually. And I won't say who it is because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Although I do believe Lilith actually are fine with piloting. Now, obviously, now that the ball has moved and the siege towers are sort of sat still, I'm expecting some reports to come back in because they're not going to be bothered about, you know, concentrating. And I'm right. So, Horse is the first one to reply. A nice 33k to 185k there. 500% KP ratio, which is absolutely solid. Danky or Danky, I messaged there as well. Obviously, you don't see a message. I'm not going to leave all that in the video. But they've moved the fight, they've moved the ball, they've pushed on. And look at these towers just sat here. I mean, they're not doing anything though. So I'm not sure why people are just like leaving towers loitering everywhere, like when they just drop their rubbish. I mean, get on and move your towers and get them into a position where they're actually going to, you know, have an impact. You know, 60 GT are crossing a bridge here, and it's a perfect opportunity to get your towers on the other side of the bridge and join the fight, and you can actually have a great impact there, unless they're literally just AFK marches. But you can see them all in that top corner just sat there, whilst there's a load of fighting going on the bottom, a huge amount of fighting, loads and loads of people there. Again, a nice array of towers on this bottom right hand side now, and again, more contact. So Horse has got gathering gear, and he's showing me here decent armaments though, to be fair, really nice armaments, and he's got line shot as well, the inscriptions, which is very nice. And what I do see though is he's got his legendary gathering gear, which is highly not recommended. For a start, just leave them on your gathering marches, and you should really be using the harvester set. It's much better as a crit. But I did let him know, and he's fine with that. He wanted the march speed instead. So some decent reports from Shinji here, 62,000 to 228, which is really, really nice. I'm not sure if these are just literally the last 5 reports. That's what I asked for. I mean, you should get good and bad reports, but maybe he's not been swarmed that much. I mean, end of the day, if you're on the upper hand and you're not being pushed at all by the enemy team, then you should generally be taking very good reports. He did have a defeat on this, but also just traded really well, nearly 200% even after getting swarmed. And the swarm did hurt, although he still traded positive on that swarm report. You know, 75k to 100k. And I did actually flick through for a while trying to find out which reports traded really, really badly on, and I didn't really get there in the end, so I sort of had to give up in the end. It would have made for a bit of a boring video. So Shinji was also kind of to send me his gear, his armaments, and obviously equipment, and he's not even got max gauge here, so 5541, but performing very, very well. He's got 2 leadership pieces by the looks of it. Yeah, that's the leadership gloves and leadership legs there. And, you know, they're doing a decent job. Also 3% troop defense. But the rest of it is siege, so he's obviously working on the siege equipment. His armaments aren't crazy, but he's got line shot and ballistics, which is great. Breaker's also very good, so another debuff, another defensive debuff, which is very, very useful. And you know, fairly decent stats, decent bit of all damage there, but yeah, a lot of room for improvement though. Now, as you see, GV77 have actually pushed back at this point. 60 must have run out of steam at that bridge in the end anyway. So this is Danky. Thank you for getting back to me. Welcome to SIEGEWATCH. And he said his stuff's really bad, and he's just started getting into siege. But honestly, these reports are actually looking very, very good. So I'm interested in obviously what his equipment looks like. Kind of expecting harvester set on these siege units. And you know what? If it is running a harvester set on such a huge KVK like this, you know, that's a good report there. Decent results. Gonzalo's 5544, so not even Max Gonzalo, which makes a huge difference. But yeah, so two harvester pieces there, and cavalry legs, cavalry boots. Sorry. Now that must have been a mistake. I'll let him obviously know that. But yeah, another harvester. So he's been running cavalry boots and has still been performing very well. Um, yeah, pretty crazy to be honest. It just shows what you can do. Now this is Error, who got back to me at last, and some great trades and a decent amount of kills, decent kill points too. 2 million KP on that one, 5 million KP on this one, which is really, really high. And let's take a look at his equipment too. You know, again, not crazy equipment. You've got three harvester pieces, a dagger there, which is actually crit for cavalry. We didn't look at his armaments. Sorry, let's go back into there. And his armaments are pretty decent inscriptions. Low stats, a little bit of all damage though. 2% all damage is quite nice. And yeah, decent enough inscriptions. Now I'm just going to show you all the people I've been contacting. So I've copied and pasted the same message over and over again to all those people down there on that list. At least 15 to 20 people. I know so far only a couple of people have got back to me, but I'm still hopeful on some more. Now, I had the issue of not being able to differentiate between your allies and enemies here, so I couldn't set it up as, 93 versus JST. So during that bit of fighting, we did see a guy called Peng who got back to me very, very quickly and showed me he's just started making a siege march. So he's using Gonzalo de Cordoba's primary, which I don't fancy that much. I do prefer Gauge's primary. You do stay on the field a lot longer. And as you can see, it's a very, very early days set. Not sure why he's got Furious on this march, unless he had really good stats on that inscription. Because Furious obviously skill damage, and then you're dealing counterattack, which is kind of pointless. The other stats are okay, but you can see he's sort of scraping for your siege stats and inscriptions on this account. Although he seems to be performing fairly decent so far. 200 300% KP ratios, and to be fair, a fairly decent amount of kills from these reports. 1 million KP here, nearly 1 million KP there. At the end of the day, with this sort of kit and these fights, if your fights dry up, you are going to struggle to get a decent amount of kills. But if that's all you're going to get, and you just pew-pewing a few people here and there to just get any KP you can, it's a bit like city hopping, really. That's all you can do. And obviously he's doing that in this scenario. That was the Queen there, which was great to see. RIP. And I did notice that Peng actually picks a fight with another tower here. I'm not sure why I picked this one to have a fight with, but it was a bit of an interesting watch. I mean, more people should be doing this, to be honest with you, trying to take out other towers. One guy against all these towers is a little bit optimistic, let's say. But he will be doing some AoE on, three of the towers here, whilst he's fighting now, and he obviously had to pull away from that fight because it wasn't doing that well. And like I say, he's only just started with his siege account, so yeah, it was always going to be a little bit tough. Now, contacted El Jarzo here. I think this was a guy that I know from the siege chat, but he didn't get back to me, so maybe not. Obviously contacted him too, yeah, and didn't hear anything from him. So as I was watching this ball here, I noticed a huge wave of GV77 coming over to this area to obviously start a fight. You can see them all starting to come in here, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at that amount of troops. So they were fighting 60 GT, or just 60 to be honest. They've got a couple of alliances that they're using. I think it's MX as well, and just a huge mass of troops marching over here, which is quite interesting to watch. Just literally just walking straight through enemy cities, and into another enemy zone. And you'll see how this went for them in a minute. So obviously 60 had clocked this, and they're heading right over through the centre to 1093 territory. So it looks like they just wanted to pick a fight with 1093 potentially. Literally just a few cheeseburgers going on there whilst they march their way through. They're not going to be getting caused a lot of damage right now until they get to the destination. And this was their destination. And as you can see, you've got 1093 to the left in the orange, 60, 1960 in the blue, and in the middle, sandwiched in the middle, GV77. And obviously, 1093 and 60 are the bread and butter, and GV77 are the sandwich in the middle, and they're just getting squished. So they're completely surrounded in the middle of 1093's territory. No way of escaping right now. And I'd hate to see some of the reports they were getting. All that AoE while you're just getting slammed from both sides. And it really didn't take long to just get completely slammed and annihilated this GV77 ball. But it was great to watch. Just look at the amount of troops on the field here. 3 alliances, or 3 kingdoms, all coming together and smashing each other. Or basically, it was 2 versus 1. And as you know, 1093 and 60 GT are just absolutely crazy. And there they are. They're just all decimated now. But yeah, we spotted Phil here, so shout out to Phil. And unfortunately, he didn't give me any reports, and he didn't want to share any of his equipment. Although he did actually speak to me. He's just on about reports disappearing quickly, and for some reason didn't want to share his great gear and armaments. And I know Phil from the Siege chat I mentioned before on the channel, he's a great Siege player. He's actually a Siege main, probably one of the only Siege mains you'll see in this great KVK. He's got amazing gear, amazing armaments, and well, I wouldn't say amazing, but he's definitely getting there. I believe he's actually a free to play as well, but 1093 actually accepted him to the kingdom, which is amazing for a Siege main. And I believe also he's got over a billion KP from this KVK. I think it's 1.2 or maybe probably even more now. KP, 1.2 billion KP from this KVK with just his 3 siege marches. He's not splitting them up and making them to 4 or 5 armies like I know some other people do, like Gumbo, who's been mentioned on Dark Siege's channel. If you don't know Dark Siege, then go check him out. He's done some great content too. And Gumbo was probably the first Siege player to get over a billion KP, as far as I know. Siege main. Obviously, I'm not talking about if you've got 1 Siege march, because plenty of people have done that. And, I'm kind of disappointed. I would like to be in that state too. But to be honest, my KVKs have just been 2 pants. And all I've managed is like 600 mil KP with my 3 marches. Even though, I should be getting results like Phil and Gumbo have been in their KVKs. But honestly, I've just not had the situations for it. I've not had fights as crazy as this. Great balls, great fighting, equal balls to be fighting against each other to get those great reports. In fact, last KVK, just reports were terrible all through. And as you can see now that 60 and 1093 just steamrolling through. Monk got back to me. As you can see, Phil said, no, the reports disappear too quickly. Halfway through March, they'll start disappearing, so he didn't want to share them. But Monk did get back to me, so thank you very much, Monk. And this guy is from SN41. Decent results here, though. He's got some great reports. 40 to 185, that's really nice. 3 mil KP on that one report. 3 mil KP on this report. And yeah, he's just doing really well. If these were the last 5 reports, that's a crazy report. 10 mil, really nice. 500k severely wounded on the enemy side there as well. Another 500 here. I don't know if that's the same report or not, but very good anyway. I don't think it was. His equipment isn't even crazy, guys. He's got 1 harvester piece here, 2 legendary pieces. He was lucky enough to crit the weapon there, which is nice. But yeah, not crazy equipment, and great siege stats on his armaments, but his inscriptions aren't crazy either. And yeah, he's pulling off those absolutely insane reports too, which is mad. So congratulations to you. Now, this was another funny part that I saw. So some guy, I think it's from JST or GV77, I'm not even sure. He came to attack all the towers. Now, he's actually doing very, very well, but kind of no surprise. You've seen the sort of equipment these people have been sharing with me on their siege marches. And if you are running harvester sets, when you come and get swarmed by guys like this with crazy, crazy equipment, you are going to struggle. So your Margaret marches, they are they are a bit squishy, to be honest with you. Great if you don't get hit, not so great if you do. And obviously he had a little bit of help, and with all those siege towers eventually hitting, getting the rage up, a bit of AoE as well, they'd have helped. But some guys would have took a bit of a poor report there, and it was quite entertaining anyway, that was. So well done to that guy. And yeah, so this is the huge KVK of the year. Really interesting, amazing fights. It's been great to watch, and it's not the only time I've watched this KVK. I've nipped in many times to see what's going on. I spoke to plenty of the guys that are running towers in the KVK too, and it's just amazing to watch. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you to everyone that got back to me. And I'll be honest with you, other people did get back to me, and they were just too late. This recording, it took me like half an hour to an hour just to actually record the footage, and they still didn't reply to me in time for that. So if you're too late, guys, you won't get shown on SIEGEWATCH. So everyone, that's it for me, Mr. Siege. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.